Let's jump right in, because something huge is happening to the very idea of money as we know it. And no, I'm not talking about a new payment app or another crypto coin. We're talking about governments, the central banks themselves, completely redesigning their currencies for the digital age.
And look, this isn't just some fringe idea being kicked around. Right now, over 130 countries are in the game. They're either exploring, actively testing, or have already launched their own central bank digital currency, or CBDC. That's practically the entire planet looking at the same massive shift. And here's the part that really gets your attention. Those countries, they represent a whopping 98% of the entire global economy. So yeah, this isn't a niche experiment. It is, without a doubt, one of the biggest financial transformations happening right now.
Okay, so you have to wonder, why? Why is this happening now? What's the problem that all these governments all over the world are trying to solve by jumping into this digital currency race?
Well, it really comes down to a few big things. First, let's be honest, some of our payment systems are slow and clunky. Central banks want to fix that. They also want to bring millions of people who don't have bank accounts into the financial system. And this is a big one. In a world full of private crypto, they want to make sure they stay in control of their own money supply. That's that monetary sovereignty bit. Plus, just imagine getting stimulus payments instantly, or sending money to family overseas without those crazy fees and delays. That's the dream they're chasing.
So this isn't just some far-off theory. The race is already underway, and we've got pioneers who are already live. Let's take a look at a few real-world examples to see what this actually looks like on the ground.
First up, the big one, China's digital yuan, the ECNY. They've been testing this in huge cities with millions of people. For them, a huge goal is to dial back the country's dependence on private tech giants like Alipay and WeChat Pay, and at the same time, give the state a clearer view of financial transactions. Now let's jump over to Nigeria, where the story is completely different. They launched their e-Naira back in 2021, and their main goal was social. It's all about financial inclusion. In a country where so many people are unbanked, a digital wallet on a basic phone, that could be an absolute game changer.
And for a really practical example, look at the Bahamas. Fun fact, they were actually the very first country in the world to fully launch a CBDC, called the Sand Dollar. For a nation that's spread out over hundreds of islands, just getting basic banking services everywhere is a huge challenge. A digital currency helps solve that problem head on.
So we've seen the why and the who, but what exactly is a CBDC? How is it any different from the money you see in your Venmo account or the crypto you might own? Let's break it down.
Okay, here's the key. A CBDC is just a digital version of a country's official money, a digital dollar, a digital euro, you name it. But the most crucial part is that phrase, direct liability of the central bank. Think of it like this. The balance in your normal bank account is technically a promise, an IOU from your bank. A digital dollar, on the other hand, would be a direct claim on the central government itself, just like the cash in your pocket. It's the safest digital money imaginable.
And this is the distinction we absolutely have to get right. People hear digital currency and their minds jump to Bitcoin, but a CBDC is pretty much the polar opposite. Cryptocurrencies are decentralized, no one's in charge. A CBDC is totally centralized, issued and controlled by the government. That's why its value is stable. It's always one-to-one with the regular currency. A digital dollar is always worth $1. It's not a wild speculative asset. It's just the money we already use in a new form factor. But, and this is a huge but, this whole move toward official digital cash is sparking a massive debate. We're talking about some really serious trade-offs between all the potential upsides and some pretty significant risks. This really is the heart of the whole conversation.
On the one hand, the promise is huge, right? We're talking faster payments, smarter tools to manage the economy, helping more people get access to financial services. But the perils, well, they're just as big. The number one concern for most people is privacy, the potential for the government to have a window into every single thing you buy. And it goes beyond that to the risk of upending the entire commercial banking system and creating massive new targets for cyber attacks.
So it boils everything down to a really personal question. For you, for me, for all of us. Think about it. Would you be willing to give up some of your financial privacy in exchange for the convenience and the benefits of a super efficient, government-backed digital currency? It's a fundamental question we're all going to have to answer.
So with this debate heating up and countries all over the world charging ahead, what does the future actually look like? What are the next big hurdles we need to clear on this road to digital cash?
Honestly, the single biggest challenge is making sure everything connects. Think about it. If every country builds its own separate digital currency, we could end up with a bunch of digital islands, a global financial system that's even more of a mess than it is now. That's why international groups like the IMF are pushing for standards. And you've got projects like Enbridge, which is already testing how a digital yuan, a digital bot, and others can all talk to each other smoothly. And all of this leaves us with one final massive question. This technology, it truly has the power to connect our world and build a more efficient, more inclusive financial system. But it also has the power to enable levels of surveillance and control we've never seen before. So will it connect us? Or will it control us? The path we choose here is going to define the future of money for a long, long time.